Welcome back to the Cossy channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Viktor Gyökeres has told Sporting CP he won't be playing for them again and he won't be joining their training this pre-season. Arsenal are preparing a bid for Viktor Gyökeres, but Sporting are still adamant they want a bigger fee for the player. Also, Arsenal still trying on the Benjamin Šeško deal. RB Leipzig and Arsenal have a €10 million difference in valuation. RB Leipzig is saying, if you're giving us €80 million, we are willing to listen. And Arsenal is saying their valuation for Benjamin Šeško is €70 million. There is a lot going on, but one thing we know is Mikel Arteta has asked for a striker before pre-season. By the time we get to pre-season on the 19th of July, Mikel Arteta wants a new centre forward, and Andrea Bata is focusing all the major funds this summer to sign forwards, a left winger and a new centre forward. So a centre forward is arriving at Arsenal 100%. There is no question about that. The big question is still, who is it going to be? We might see a bid for Gyokores or Šeško this week, but again, it is still a long way to go. Hit that button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's dive into the Gyokores story, which could be actually turning into some very, very exciting news. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Viktor Gyökeres has already personally informed Sporting President Varandas about his decision not to stay. He wants to leave, no intention to play for the club again. That is what Viktor Gyökeres has told Sporting CP President Varandas. As well, this has been aggregated by Abola, who was saying that Viktor Gyökeres wants a new chapter. He feels heartbroken after exit pact was actually broken by Sporting CP and is not expected to return to training anytime soon. That is according to Fabrizio and Abola Sport. They're both reporting that Gyökeres has told the Sporting CP president, one, he doesn't want to play for Sporting CP again. Now, of course, that's a little bit difficult and complicated because he's a player under contract. But he's told them, last summer we had an agreement. You will let me go for €70 million. A couple of clubs have come in trying to talk to you and trying to buy me for €70 million. And you're actually changing your mind. You're changing your stance. We want to leave your club. We want to go. And Abola saying the player doesn't even want to come back in training. He wants to leave Sporting CP right away. Now, before we get into the Arsenal bid, because there was also a story coming in from Record Portugal, that Arsenal are preparing their first official bid for Viktor Gyökeres this week, and a deal could be agreed if Sporting CP actually go down and they try to understand the situation of the player. The first thing we've got to talk about here is this deal is being driven by Viktor Gyökeres. I think he's done enough, more than enough in fact, for him to join Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal, he wants this move to happen, and he's literally done everything a player you want to sign should do. He has rejected any other clubs, he has rejected talks from Sporting. He has literally told Sporting, I want to go, right? And I want to go to Arsenal. He's told Juventus, wait. He's told Manchester United, wait. I want to go to Arsenal. And for me, Arsenal need to be serious when it comes to this deal. We need to be a little bit serious. Now, of course, Sporting also know that it's very difficult for a club to come from outside and give you €100 million, €80 million for a 27-year-old from Portugal, especially one that is a striker. It's difficult. If you want to get that kind of money, you've got to sell the player at 22, 23, maybe 25. You're going to get that money. And Arsenal is saying we're not giving you anything above €70 million, right? We want to do this deal for about 50, 60 million euros and then get our width. And that's why the deal is dragging on, because Sporting is saying we want more out of our player. He's been scoring a lot of goals, but we want more, right? We have that agreement in the summer, but we want more and we will get more. Now, for me, I think this is what's going to happen. Gyökeres has done what he has to do. Now it's time for Arsenal to do their part and bid. And there is a story coming in from Record Portugal, straight from Portugal, and they're reporting that Arsenal is prepared to submit their first official offer for Viktor Gyökeres. This now breaks down all the other reports that have been coming in from the past, from the likes of CNN Portugal and the others, saying that Arsenal had already taken in 2 bids. It's not true. Arsenal are just preparing their first offer for Viktor Gyökeres, and they're also preparing an offer for Benjamin Šeško. Arsenal, Andrea Bata wants to work these deals together so that if one fails, then he can actually go with the other. For me, I don't know why Arsenal are stressing with Šeško. I mean, I understand Mikel Arteta wanting the player. I understand the team, the data team, and trying to sell the project is one of the best strikers that are going to be in the next 5 years. But I don't know why we're stressing with Šeško and RB Leipzig when we have a player that is ready to join. We have a player that is going to cost 60 million euros. He's 27 in his prime, and he wins you the league. That's the one thing I want Arsenal fans and the Arsenal board and Mikel Arteta to focus on. You have a man in Viktor Gyökeres that absolutely wins you the league. He can score 25 goals in a campaign. He's ready to join Arsenal, rejecting all the other clubs. He's put conditions that are putting Sporting CP under massive pressure. And this is so different from the Benjamin Šeško deal, because the Benjamin Šeško deal, literally, the player doesn't want to put RB Leipzig under pressure because he renewed his contract last summer. And how do you renew your contract last summer and then put the club under pressure the following year? It doesn't happen like that. So I think with Šeško, it is under the terms, it's on the terms of RB Leipzig. With Viktor Gyökeres, Arsenal can walk into this deal and set their own terms. We can walk into the negotiation table and say, walk out to the negotiation room and say, we're giving you 60 million euros, talk about the structure, and this deal can be done within a week. But I just feel like Arsenal are dragging this on, and we're trying to keep this deal open just to see what happens out of the Benjamin Šeško deal. And out of the Benjamin Šeško deal, there is something that Fabrizio has said this week, and it's very, very important. This was also said by Isaac Khan, who says that it's understood that Šeško is still the primary target and priority at striker for Arsenal. Sources close to the club suggest that Sporting Lisbon's keenness to offload Gyökeres has become clearer by the day and arguably weakened their hand. Internally, there are already reservations over the 27-year-old because Portugal's Primeira Liga is a totally different proposition to the Premier League, even though he has scored 39 league goals last season. So it remains as that Šeško is Arsenal's number one. Mikel Arteta still looks at Šeško as his priority, and there is no problem with that, right? You love a manager who knows what he wants. You love a manager who is clear about what he wants, and I don't have a problem if Šeško signs. I said before, and I said again, I will back Šeško if he becomes Arsenal striker. I'm not going to turn my back on him. I'm not going to abuse him. I'm not going to critique. I will back the signing of Benjamin Šeško. But this is a signing that is dragging on, and RB Leipzig waiting to see what happens with Gyökeres, what's going to happen with Hugo Ekitike. If Hugo Ekitike signs for another club first, and it goes for about 80 million euros, Šeško is going to be more expensive. I'm telling you. This is like the Moises Caicedo Declan Rice situation. Rice goes for 100 million. You don't expect Caicedo to go for less than 100. If Caicedo had moved fast, Rice would have been more expensive than Moises Caicedo. But Fabrizio this week has actually come out and said Benjamin Šeško to Arsenal is still on. The deal has not broken down. They talk about personal terms and wages and Arsenal being frustrated at Benjamin Šeško's demands. That is not true. He's not asking for too much wages, and he's not asking for a release clause in his contract. Again, that tells you there is a lot of PR, there is a lot of spinning going on with these deals. but Arsenal are okay with the demands of Benjamin Šeško. Our problem is with the valuation of RB Leipzig. So why have Arsenal not bid yet? That is the first question. I think Arsenal have not bid yet for Viktor Gyökeres because Sporting are saying we want above 80 million euros. And Arsenal have not bid yet for Šeško because Leipzig are saying we want above 80 million euros. But should one of these clubs put up a structure that is likable to Arsenal, a structure that is okay for Arsenal, I can see these deals done. I can see Arsenal get these deals done. Honestly, I'm not saying we're going to do both of them, but I think if Sporting come down from 80 million euros to 65 million euros, Arsenal could do that deal. And then there is also this. Arsenal feel they can sign Benjamin Šeško, who is younger, has a higher ceiling and a longer time on his spectrum for 65, 70 million euros. And that is the same amount of money that Gyökeres is going to go for. So maybe Arsenal saying, for us to pay 70 million euros for Gyökeres, let us pressurize Leipzig. Let us play the waiting game on Leipzig so that they can actually sell the player for 70 million euros. If they do that, it will be genius work, right? It will be genius work. And again, I could see Arsenal maybe get Gyökeres for 50 million euros or 55 million euros. Maybe they're trying to drive down the prices on these deals as much as possible. But Mikel Arteta has apparently told Andre Bata that he wants his striker signing before pre-season, before July 19th. And that complicates things, right? That absolutely complicates things. Because if you're going to get one of these two before July the 19th, next week, a deal must be very close. It must be. Like next week, we must be having an advanced deal, right? Because you have all this agreement, structure, and everything. Then you have outlining personal terms, and then you have medicals, and you have all these things. It could take 2 weeks, right? So if Mikel Arteta is serious and he wants this striker by the time we are going into preseason, then next week we must have a deal closed. But if you ask me right now, I am feeling that Gyökeres is close. I am getting the feeling that Gyökeres will happen, that the deal will happen for Viktor Gyökeres. These are the kind of deals that I believe can happen. These are the kind of deals for me I look at and I'm like, it's a deal that can really, really happen. Anyway, now Andre Bata is focusing the major part of his budget on forwards. If you've seen the story that I've done earlier on today, Arsenal made a bid for a replacement for Partey, Christian Nogard, and it's 11 million euros. That's about 8 or 9 million pounds. So Arsenal are still focusing the bigger part of their budget to sign a centre forward and a left winger. And I think this is just a waiting game. Arsenal trying to drive down prices. We're trying to get the best deal on the centre forward and also get the best deal on the winger. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you got the best deal on Kepa. We've got the best deal on Zubimendi. We could get the best deal on Christian Nogard. There's no wrong in Arsenal getting the best deal for Gerard Hartel. No wrong in Arsenal getting the best deal for Rodrigo, and there's no wrong for in Arsenal getting the best deal on a centre forward. So let's see if Arsenal can progress on this one, but deals are progressing.